All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is set to compete at BKB 38. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit. Wolves Brawl 2 is set to go down on March the 22nd, and we have the rematch that has been quite a while in the making at this point. James Connelly taking on LT Nelson inside the mighty Trigon, and great heaven James on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. How's everything going, man? Appreciate you making the time.
You're welcome. Yeah, going great, going great. Coming to the end of the hellish long camp, to be honest with you. So 2 weeks tomorrow to the fight. So yeah. Feeling good, feeling good.
And for sure, that's definitely something that's of paramount importance to talk about because you were so close to having this rematch earlier in the year at the 35th event from the promotion. And just can you talk about the whole situation? Because it seemed like there was some confusion about it being like a 6 round fight, and then they were trying to make it 5 rounds non-title. Can you talk about the whole experience just in terms of your timeline with that?
Yeah, I got over there on what did I go over there on the Sunday? No, sorry, the Saturday. And obviously, by the Wednesday, I'm hearing little whispers that the fight's not going to go ahead. At this moment in time, I just thought out here, just pulled out. Obviously, I found out a bit more about it since then. Obviously, the way what's happened is we went over there. LT, the world title fights are 6 times 3 minute rounds. Albuquerque wouldn't allow 6 times 3 minute rounds. They'll allow 5 times 3 minute rounds. So they come to me and they said, "Oh, would you do the five?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do the five," because I kept on looking at us. I'm literally getting paid the same amount of money for 1 round less. I'm gonna take it. I'm fighting for the title, so I'm gonna take it. But they went back to Nelson's management because it weren't Nelson that makes that final decision. Yeah, he gets the funny, but the management have obviously said, "Listen, don't be having it." And with all due respect to them, they have the right to. They had the right to do that. Would I want? If I was champion, would I want to be doing? You're doing the fight at 5 3 minute rounds, then 6 when I won it at 6 and stuff like this. So the integrity of the sport starts coming into it then, and people don't want to be, as someone said, you won't get Canelo saying, "Oh, I'll do 11 rounds instead of 12." So that's really what it is, So yeah, the fight never went ahead, but that's where we're at with it now. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious like what the temperament on the situation might be at this point because it seemed like you were, I would say understandably pretty fired up after everything went down, just talking about, all the work you put into it and then just not, it not coming to fruition and stuff like that and just everything that took place with you, being ready to fight, traveling, halfway across the world, being on weight. Like you seemed understandably pretty frustrated then. Like how do you feel about the whole situation now? Like is that just kind of not on the radar at all because you have this subsequent rematch locked in, or just how's
Yeah.
all that?
Well, it had to really. You got to understand. I felt it was horrible out there. I was making weight at the time as well, so I'm going through the cutting out stuff during that fight week and stuff like that. So it was horrible to the point where there's no fight. But the worst thing that I could have done is start shouting and bawling and not being professional. Shouting about it and screaming and swearing. I just stayed professional, kept my mouth closed, and then came back and then jumped into another camp. But as far as thinking about it, I'd forgot about that once I got back from America. I haven't been thinking that going. I can't during this camp. Oh, I can't believe that happened in that fight. Nah, like you can't do that. This is a whole new. This is a whole new camp. By the time I come to this fight, I would have done a 19-week training camp for it. I've been in training camp since October the 21st, 2024. We're now on March 2025. And when I say camp, I mean proper camp. Like I don't mess around. Like there's no going out, there's no partying. My birthday was last Wednesday. Christmas obviously that had gone. There's a lot's gone on in the last 5 months as far as training for this fight. I don't think I've ever trained 5 months to fight someone. So that alone was a bit. I'm sick of the Nelson name. I think he's a quality guy, quality fighter. But knowing like you constantly got someone on your brain for so many months, it's driving me insane. you know. But the fight is the end of it now, and it will happen in England. At the end of the day, like England will sanction 6 times 3 minute rounds. So, and Nelson will turn up. So we will have a fight on March the 22nd. This will be over and done with come March the 22nd.
Would there be an additionally sweet kind of component to winning the title in something that represents something closer to home soil, or are you fine fighting wherever? Like you could fight on Mars and win the title, and it would be cool.
I try, you know what? I try to cut all that out. You know, I don't try to look at like, you know, at the end of the day, the bottom line of it, I'm fighting. You know, and if I'm a fighter and I'm thinking about, oh, if I had my home crowd there, that's going to make me win, or that's going to make me fight hard, or if I'm away from home, that might get me to shy away, so I'm not going to be able to put 100% in. I don't think it like that. As I say, you can put me anywhere and fight, which I've already done. I've been to Miami and fought. I fought in New Orleans. I fought in London at the O2. You know, I fought in Wolverhampton, the place that me and Nelson have fought in. I've actually fought at that venue as well, Bare Knuckle. So, you know, I've done my fair share of this travelling around. I don't care about that. You know, I swear that's it's too much to deal with. You know, oh, I've got my home crowd here. Like, I've done a lot of tickets here. Don't get me wrong. The fight is taking place 20 minutes from my house, you know, compared to like, remember, there's no 10-hour flight for me traveling over to America. There's no time difference. There's no high altitude training, dealing with the Albuquerque out there. So, you know, as far as that's concerned, you know, when I look at that, I don't have to do the flights and all that sort of stuff. Then, yeah, that's beneficial to me. And I love obviously having the home crowd there. And obviously, thank you to everyone who's bought tickets off me. There's a lot of people, and you know, but if I had to be truthful to myself and say, you know, do I fight harder with my own people there? No, I don't. You know, hopefully that I give them a night to remember and a night to enjoy. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, once that bell goes, all I see is Nelson. Unless I see a ref come across there, he's not even getting thought about. You know what I mean? So I'm just tunnel vision for this, zoned in on Nelson for it, and that's what I do really. So to be honest with you, man. Listen, when I start fighting, it could be no one in the crowd. I just wouldn't know. You know, like I don't hear anything. All I do hear is my trainers and their voice. You know, and that's the way it's got to be in top fights like this. You know, we can't be looking at the crowd and expecting your mum over there or your brothers over there to be giving you that extra 10%. They can to some people, but I just don't look at it like that because I feel like I'm asking for too much of other people when I should be looking within myself. You know, so that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like if you get that ideal outcome in this one, though, that championship hardware could be a great belated birthday gift for you, I would think at least.
Birthday, Christmas, the whole lot. You know, like as I say, I've been training camp. Well, by the time the fight comes, what 19-week training camp I would have done. And when it comes to training, I live like a monk. I do. As I say, I'm in Spain right now, Fuerteventura. Been out here since Sunday. Training, good sparring out here, quality training. You know, I move myself about. You know, I put myself in the comfortable positions because because I'm ready for uncomfortable fights, whatever it may go. You know. This fighting, the bare knuckle's close to my heart. You know, when I say like, I don't care about being known for being a bare knuckle. I don't care about all the any fame or glitz and glamour of it. You know, I've done this because I wanted to channel my energy through fighting, and I've just happened to get to the top of the food chain when it comes to this bare knuckle within the BYB. You know, the BKB. So I'm proud of that alone. You know what I mean? Like to get to this level that I'm at, I'm fighting, but I still resort back to how I fought when I got involved in it. It's all on me. I mean, no one's coming to save me. I don't look for no one to tap me on my back. I'm going to have a fight. And that's why I train so hard. You know what I mean? That's why I put myself in these positions because when it comes to that crunch time and that first bell goes, I ain't going anywhere. You know, and we found out that Nelson neither does go anywhere either. So, what a high quality fight to be involved in. Like this is what we all want to do. Like, I mean, I've had 12 bare knuckle fights now. I've been doing for the past 7 years. I've had 12 fights within the 7 years, all high quality fights against people that have become world champions, world champions. So I've always been at the high level as far as my opponents, and this is just another one. But as I say, all the work gets put in because one day this is going to end and it ain't going to last forever. So I can get to look back and go, I put everything I did into it, and I was in high level fights against high level opposition. You know what I mean? I'm proud for that alone. So yeah.
And I mean, you kind of even briefly touched on it there, and I touched on it in the introduction. Like, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on the promotion shifting its branding a little bit in terms of going from BYB Extreme to now being BKB Bare Knuckle Boxing, which obviously harkens back to, your championship collecting accolades in BKB before, BYB had acquired that company. So, like, just to say all that, like, what are your thoughts on the recent, I guess, name change of the promotion and all?
Do you know what, Dylan? To be honest with you, the thing that as soon as I saw the name change, like I thought, oh my god, I get to pull out all the old BKB tracksuits now. I've got one. Like, remember when the BYB come along? the BKB, all the stuff. I had all kit wear, fight wear and stuff like that with the BKB, my name on it. I put all them away because it will become this now, the Brawl, BYB that I've got on right now. But now I get to put all these back out now with all the Connelly on there and stuff like that. People, let's not get it twisted. It's only a name change. Nothing's gone back to BKB. We ain't gone back to a ring. We ain't gone back to 2-minute rounds. It's still 3-minute rounds. We're in the Trigon. It's just the names changed. You know what I mean? Like, to me, the only thing I could take out of that is I get to pull out all the BKB tracksuits, t-shirts, shorts with my names on and stuff like that. And it'll look good now. You know what I mean? With that name and obviously me putting that sort of kit on. So yeah, that's the only thing I got out of it, to be honest with you. Everyone was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, what? You know what I mean? Yeah, but don't get me wrong, BYB, you know what I mean? Backyard brawls and stuff like that. We're trying to move up levels now, bring it back to the old BKB. You know what I mean? Everyone gets it now. Everyone's starting getting a bit. Or some people were confused with the BYB part of it. You know what I mean? Like, what does the Y stand for? They thought it was bring your own bottle. You know what I mean? Bring your own bottle or something like that. I was thinking, gee, but yeah, but no. Either way. But yeah. As I say, the tracksuit part of it is what I'm more better proud of.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to find a way to phrase this question because you obviously have championship accolades with BKB previously and, Police Gazette accolades. So, I mean, just with this, upcoming fight ultimately, like you said, still being under a different rule set, being that it is like the additional length to the rounds, etc. Would this kind of feel like business as usual in a sense, as far as like, oh yeah, I've kind of been here before fighting for a BKB title, Police Gazette, historical lineage attachment to it, like, or does this feel like it could be even like a newer accomplishment because you're ultimately, I guess, winning a bare knuckle belt under a different rule set?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. I get this Police Diamond Gazette belt now, Police Gazette Diamond belt. I've got all the belts. I've got the British title within BKB. I've got the world title within BKB. Then I got the Police Gazette British title, that other one. And now I'm fighting for the Police Gazette Diamond belt. So when you're looking on the promotions that I've been involved in, i.e. the BYB and the BKB, I've cleaned up. I've completed the game. I've got all them belts. Like, there's no more belt to be won within them two promotions, especially with the BYB now, that I never got. So yeah, of course. But then again, we've got to understand one thing as well. At this level that I'm at now, because of the hard training with the camps and the stuff like that, it's all brutal. Look, I don't look at the belts. The belt, I don't like. I mean, this is the high level, dangerous fight. You know what I mean? So if I'm just looking on a bit of metal, with all due respect to the belt, I never disrespect the belt. A bit of metal and a bit of whatever on there. Just the reason why I'm not going to stop this man from putting his hands on me. No way. Like I look at this. This is on me now. Where I look at, like, everything goes out the window, mate. I don't think about the belts. I don't think about nothing. I just go in there to defend myself. I'm not going to allow this man to try and think he can just come and put his hands on me any way he wants. You know what I mean? I've never allowed it to. So this is what I think in my mind. I think, yeah, you want to come and try and put your hands on me, do you? And we'll see about it then. That's the sort of mentality I have when I go into these fights. I don't think I can't wait to be world champ. I can't wait for the belt. I say, just get through the fight with that mentality, and whatever comes after it, comes after it. As I say, like, you got to understand one thing. We do what I've done. As I say, come to this fight now, 19-week training camp. And God willing, like I don't lose the fight. You know what I mean? You don't understand, like, anything can happen in this bare knuckle game. We could do all this training, putting all the work in, speaking like I'm speaking, and going there and not perform. And I've never not performed. Can I say that about me? I've never not performed. I'm always the sort of guy that when that switch gets switched on that night when that first battle goes, I'm zoned in. I'm good at the concentration in the ring. It's hard. It's probably one of the main things is concentrating in the ring, and I'm good with it.
I guess in saying all of that, I'm curious, like, I feel like I probably know the answer to this question based on how you laid some things out. I guess just considering the fact that your first fight with Nelson ended up being inducted into the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame, is there any kind of, like, I'm trying to find a way to phrase this, like, not pressure to one up it per se. Like, is that on your radar in any kind of way when you're out there, or is it like the very literal rather direct considerations you were talking about defending yourself and making sure someone's not going to physically hurt you and encroach in your space, etc.?
I train to defend myself, to go out there and fight a man. Bouts. I fight for money. I don't fight for all this being known and all that. I fight for money. I get the money and I do good things with the money. That's how I look at it. I knock all that out, mate. I don't fight. Oh, I'm fighting for my children and I'm fighting for my family. No, I don't want. I'm gonna die. I'm ready to die, and I'm not ready to die. I'm going in that ring, high level fitness, putting myself in uncomfortable positions for 2, 3 months at a time to go in there and win the fight. That's to me, do you understand that the sort of fight I am is I put so much work in. I want to perform. I want to win. Like, these are big things to me. You know what I mean? And but if I don't get it, then at the same time, I have no excuses. I can't sit there and think, oh, do you know what? I never went out. I never trained that day. I was being lazy. I'm never like that. So it's a big thing for me. When I win these fights, the world title comes, the British title comes, the Hall of Fame, Police Gazette Fight of the Year comes. I get into the Hall of Fame for that. Now, these are all things that are just coming when I didn't expect it at the time. You know what I mean? I just went in there with the mindset is train hard and see where I can go with this sport. I started this when I was 31 years of age. I could have missed the boat. A pro boxing, I was a bit too late. Being 31, I missed the bus with that one. So when this come up, that's why I put so much hard work and how many years I'm putting into. I'm 39 now. I was 39 last Wednesday. I've been doing it from 31. Come on, 7 years I've been doing this now. So, realistically, this is the time, 39s now, when people trying to chill off a little bit. I messed around in my 20s and I'm bringing it all back in my 30s. You know what I mean? That's what I've done, you know what I mean? And I ain't stopped and I don't intend to stop, People say, when are you going to retire? Retire. I don't look at this as a sport where, oh yeah, I'm retirement now. I'll go in there, give my best, I take what I can out of it and get out of it. You know what I mean? But you got to understand one thing. When I've had, I remember I only went to go and try bare knuckle, go and have one fight. And now I'm a 12th fight. I've been to America 4 times. I fought over there twice. Before I started bare knuckle, I wasn't allowed in America. I wouldn't have got a visa for there. So I've done a lot for myself with the training. My family's proud of me. I'm doing something worthwhile. I'm earning money from something that I used to get arrested for, fighting. I used to get arrested all the time and now I get paid for it. So I've turned a lot of negatives into positives through this sport. That's why you can't be taken for granted. And I treat the training with respect because when it comes down to that nitty gritty, you're coming against people like Nelson and stuff like that who won't lay down, who's literally going to be there. You're going to have something about you. And this glitz and glamour, I want to be known as being a poster boy. He's not going to get you too far in it. He'll get you seriously hurt. And I've never been that sort of person. I've always loved to fight and I've always needed to channel my energy. And look where I'm at now. I'm about to fight the so-called pound for pound #1 in the sport, two-weight world champion, fighter of the year. And this all's what I mean, you can't get any higher than this that I'm fighting at now. My next accomplishment is get that world title. Then I move up then and everyone's going to be coming at me then. That's how it works in this game. And let's see how they get on.
That's interesting. How do I phrase this? Like, just this fight coming up, like you were talking about, just obviously the previous cancellation and how you essentially are having consecutive camps for ultimately what amounts to one fight. And there's some component to like, okay, it'll be good to kind of like put it in the rear view, as it were, just because of how much has already kind of gone into it. Like, does that
Yeah.
sentiment kind of extend itself to, I guess, just LT Nelson overall in a certain regard? Like, I guess I say that because the first fight, was like a short notice outing. It ended in a draw, but I felt like there was onlookers who thought perhaps you should have won that judge's decision. Like, is there a certain kind of similar dynamic where you're hoping for like a more definitive outcome here to kind of put it in the rear view, etc., or maybe not so much?
Oh, you never know. This could be another flipping fight of the year fight or just a war where they want to see a third one. You never know. You never know what's going to happen for this fight. I never knew when I fought Nelson the first time. I went in over to Miami on my own. When I went over there with my coach on the Tuesday, but his wife got rushed into hospital on the Friday, so he had to fly back to England. So I'm in Miami on my own. I've got no corner team. I don't know no one. Mike Vasquez was letting me go to his offices and he had a Trigon next door that I could be in there every day. Because remember, I've never fought in a Trigon before. I was put in these positions where, shit, man, I could have sank. Um, what was the question again? Sorry, I've sort of.
Oh, just like because you were talking about like having the consecutive camps leading into ultimately this one fight, and you're almost kind of wanting to like put it on the back burner, or like that was the kind of vibe that I
Yeah.
was getting. I was just
Oh, I
wondering
get
if,
ya.
yeah.
I get you now, Dylan. Yeah, it was a case of like, you got to understand, like, I went over there on my own. I had to find an American corner team. I went in there and had a fight with the guy that was smashing all the British guys up, and ended up coming away from there with the draw. Let's say everyone looking at me as if I won the fight, and then getting the police gazette thing out there. So there goes to show out of a fight where I just thought, right, I'm having a bare knuckle fight in a different country. Bang! It sets up the rematch for this. Like that draw, even though I didn't get the win on there, it does better for now. If you know what I mean. Like this fight now, look how big it's gone, and everyone's seen from the first fight. So I don't know, to be honest with you. Do I want to go in there and have a big war again? If I have to, I will. Do I want to go in there and take him completely out? Yeah, I do. Of course, man, you've got to realise, man, I'm going against a guy who's trying to put his hands on me. Who's going to try and damage me as much as I try and damage him. There's no respect in there. There's all respect outside of it. I'm going in there to put him out. You know what I mean? If you don't get put and he wants to go on a war, then we're going to war. So it's a deadly, deadly game. And this is the mentality I have. This is the sport that you can just legally kill someone and get away with it. You know what I mean? So you got to understand that at the same time. So, like me sitting there thinking, oh, I want him in the rear view and all that. I'm sick of the Nelson now. Don't get me wrong. After we have a fight, I'll chill with him. I'll give him a little message and stuff like that. We'll speak like we was before. But as far as me fighting him, drove me insane. I was walking down the road. I'm in Spain at the moment. I was walking down the road and there was a big sign saying Nelson on it. I'm just looking at this sign saying Nelson, thinking, this fucking guy, man, he's everywhere in my life for the past 5 months. You know what I mean? I'm sure he feels the same. I never thought about a man for 5 months of my life in my life. You know what I mean? So at the same time, man, yeah, he'd be glad to get to the end of it. You know what I mean? Like I ain't thinking about whether, yeah, realistically, yeah, I'll be glad to get to the end of it. And get a little bit of my life back. Because I've sacrificed my birthday and my Christmas, and the next after this fight, the next 6 months, I haven't got a birthday. There is no Christmas, so it'd be boring again. So yeah, I'll be glad to get to the end of it, to be honest.
I guess I'm curious to get your thoughts on. I mean, I guess I'm gonna maybe string together a couple things here in a sense, just because LT Nelson had that pretty emphatic victory over Barry Jones, but classic
Yeah,
fight for sure. And then I saw
yeah,
you had a good reaction to seeing, Barry Jones' turnaround victory, ultimately going into an
yeah.
even higher weight category and winning the light heavyweight title in short order. Like, what are your thoughts on all of that? I guess kind of a two-parter, like thoughts on that Nelson Jones pretty classic fight to say the least, and then Jones subsequently cementing himself as a champion in a different weight category thereafter.
Well, I was there ringside watching the Nelson Barry fight. I watched that close up. You know what I mean? What a fight that was. You know what I mean? Like, Nelson. Look at him. You hit him, and he wants to. He comes harder. It's like one of them people that some people you can hit and they stop hitting you as much. You punch him, he comes and he was throwing 4 punches at one time. You know what I mean? So that fight was very good. You know what I mean? Look, back and forth, back and forth. Then Nelson sort of took over. You know what I mean? Because that first round, Nelson got hit with some big shots by Barry. You know, and classic fights. You know what I mean? And sets up for this. Him winning that fight. When he won that fight against Barry, people were turning around to me out of their own mouth and going, goes to show how tough you really are. I got praise out of that fight, even though wasn't involved in it, for my performance with Nelson. So everyone was giving me accolades after that fight, and I wasn't in the fight. I'm like, being now, man, that Nelson tub. I said, listen, I know. I've had him all over me like a rash, you know what I mean? And was in there. And as far as Barry coming back and winning the light heavyweight title, that to me, that's quality, that is. You got to understand Barry's a very pride man. I mean, he was on his Welsh. He lost the fight to Nelson on his home turf. Then the next fight after he's had, he's back on the home turf, back in the same.
I think you're on mute right now.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. Got you back.
Yeah, my battery went on my phone, man. I was looking at it going, oh my God. But back to what I was saying, as far as uh, he lost the title. He lost his title against Nelson on his home show in front of his home people. And Barry's a very pride orientated guy. You know what I mean? That would have hurt him. You know what I mean? So he come back on his next fight. He fought the weight above against their champion, and he won it. You know what I mean? That's a lot to deal with. And I know Barry. You know what I mean? He's a quality guy. You know what I mean? Quality fighter. So when I see that, you got to be proud like that. He put himself in the firing line again. We could have went back there to the same venue and not got a win. I mean, it could have happened again, But I admire people like that because he lost that fight in that venue and he came back the fight after and put it right. You know what I mean? Put it right. What wasn't even much of a fight, man. I think it was about 12 seconds. But I was ringside for that as well. I like that sort of things, because that was all on him. That's why I showed so much praise for him afterwards tonight because them little things, that team that is, sat there and gone, nah, I'm not having that. I'm not happy with White against Nelson. I'm going to go back, put myself in the firing line again, and I'm going to see if I get the win. And he went there and done it. And he deserves the utmost respect for doing that. And that's why I showed him the praise.
Yeah, and another thing I was kind of curious to, I guess, ask you about while I have you, because you have a history of fighting just so many great bare knuckle fighters. It ties to so many different happenings. Just having been in there with Jimmy Sweeney, who a lot of people regard as one of the best of this modern resurgence of the sport and everything. Like, what are your thoughts on his upcoming rubber match against Rico Franco for BKFC? That seems to be an intriguing fight there between those two.
Yeah, quality that is, isn't it? Yeah, I know Rico and I know Jimmy, you know what I mean? Quality fighters, man. You know what I mean? I look at that table and go, why not I there? Why not I sitting on that table fighting one of them? But nah, quality, man. You know what I mean? Like, as you say, Jim Freeman Dove was the one who matched them together. And no, the reason why they ended up fighting each other is because me and Franco fought in a prize fighter final. The winner of that went on to fight Sweeney, you see. So yeah, that fight sort of comes from the final we had and stuff like that. The winner of the tournament goes on to fight Sweeney. Uh, beat Sweeney the first time. Sweeney come back and beat him the second. Now they're going on to the trilogy. Um, you got to understand, there's a lot for their side of the sport. Like you got to understand, yeah, BKFC, they've got a lot of quality fighters in there, but you've got two fighters there that come from our promotions. You know what I mean? And we come up with us in the sport. Um, and look, they get to watch the fight again. I'm going to tune into it. I'm going to tune in and watch that fight. You know what I mean? I wish them both the luck. May the best man win. Who do I think's going to win? I don't really know, mate. This is bare knuckle. If Franco comes the same Franco that he done when they first fought, Jimmy could have a hard night. But if the Franco that come in the second fight and the Jimmy that come in there, it could be another night for Jimmy. So it's really touch and go. That fight is. It's Franco's relentlessness against Jimmy's skill. That's what that's going to be. You know what I mean? So, what a fight! What a fight!
Yeah, it's cool to see the bare knuckle promotions on big broadcasting outlets too. Just BKFC being on DAZN and the broadcast deal with Vice TV that BKB now has. Just great to see.
Oh, listen, yeah, levels are going up. As I said, I started this in 2018. When I first started, man, there was no sponsors on the ring apron. We had nothing like this. We never had profiles. We weren't having all these interviews that I get from around the world. People want to talk to me and stuff. This weren't happening them years ago. So that's from the nitty gritty part when people got involved with it, not for the glitz, not for the glamour, not to be known. That's all coming now. You see all the action replays and Connelly. I'm sick of seeing my own face on the internet, to be honest with you. I understand that my fight's coming up and they have to be seen, but oh my God, every single day that BYB is pointing something about me. But this is what they does. These are the levels moved up now. We never had this at the start. I just wanted to fight at the start. Fight, get paid. Fight, get paid. But now we get all this. I have people from around the world sending me messages and I have fan mail. I have people send me fan mail to my gym. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm from a little town called Northfield in Birmingham in England, mate. We don't get fan mail, and I've been getting these certain things, you know what I mean? So it goes to show how many people gravitate towards this sort of sport. Remember years and years ago, let's say bare knuckle over here started 9, 10 years ago. People turned the nose up at it then. the gore of it, the bloods, the guts, and stuff like that. No, man, we got shows now you can bring your children to, and they come and have a good show. No one's fighting in the crowds. You know, when you see bare knuckle shows, you let everyone out there. Let us do the fighting in the ring. You do the watching. You know, it's only times you go to them boxing matches, everyone's throwing points at each other and stuff and glasses. You never see it at the bare knuckle shows. I'm ready. And then, I think I only saw once in time of my life. There's one little fight kick off at a bare knuckle show that I've been in. You know, so he's really like that. It's coming to more now. It's with the BKFC and everyone doing what they're doing, man. This bare knuckle is going to be huge in a couple of years. It is going to be huge. It is going to be this sport to watch. Just like the old UFC, you know, how that was when that first started off, and look how that is, you know. It's only going to get better. And from people, and you know, bare knuckle can be a lot more safer than the actual glove part of it, you know. I mean, when you got gloves on, you're getting punched. You're not seeing the damage that's accumulating, you know. When you get punched with a bare knuckle in the right spot, boom, the fight could be stopped. You know, one round in, boom, you get hit, that fight stopped. 10 rounds into a boxing match getting punched with gloves on, you don't know the damage that you're taking inside. So, you know, we can be looked at safer, but with this guts and blood and with the levels of skill going up now, you ain't seeing all these mad the hands falling off and the eyes all hanging out. And don't get me wrong, you're going to see it now and again when you get two front forward fighters come against each other. But with the skill levels now, you've seen people throw check hooks in bare knuckle. You see people get out there, you know what I mean? You see people slide here, slide there, double jab right hand. You know, people aren't breaking their hands as much. Go touch wood. I have 12 bare knuckle fights. So I've never broke a hand. You know what I mean? But, you know, I've seen broken hands. I've seen some nasty injuries. You know what I mean? God, things I haven't had one of them, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And as I say, I always say there's no luck in this game. The training will make you like that. Your mentality will make you who you are as a fighter, you know. And that's what I'm saying in this sort of sport, man. How do I put it? It's not for the faint-hearted.
And it's interesting because you'd made a comment earlier that I thought was a little interesting, but it kind of does lead me to wanting to pose a certain question to you because you kind of like playfully referenced LT Nelson as like the so-called number one pound for pound. If you get a win here, do you see yourself as the number one pound for pound fighter? I mean,
I
do you
don't, I don't,
already
I
do
don't.
or?
I'm not going to sit. I don't listen to that. You got to realise, don't to be getting called by pound for pound and all that. Don't I see that as someone's opinion? Okay, there's too many quality fighters from all different weight classes to be calling you the best out of all of them. You know, your resume, your credentials can put you above fighters. Yes, they can. You know, now LT being two-weight world champion, a fighter of the year, been smashing them all up. He deserves to be top out of his weight classes. This pound for pound sort of stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Beat Nelson, I'm not going to be running around calling myself the pound for pound. You know, that's people's opinions. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I don't have that. That's like saying I'm better than everyone. I'm better than all you. So I don't really care about being better than everyone. I just want to be better than people in my weight class. You know, this pound for pound shows. You know, so I'm not really. I don't really. Yeah, it's not really my thing. The pound for pound, mate. It'd be good to be looked at. But like for people to look at Nelson as a pound for pound number one now, and I'll go and beat Nelson. Yeah, and they look at me as the guy that beat the guy. Then yeah, I'll take that. But have me on some list as where you put me as pound for pound number one. Then you got a heavyweight number two. That would probably take me out with the first shot. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I stay away from all that sort of stuff. I'll be glad to get the world title and be classed as the world champion at super middleweight.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get where you're coming from, man. And it's been great getting to talk to you ahead of such
Yeah,
a massive fight that I've been so excited for. So really wanted to thank you for making the time to come on Bare Knuckle Bowker. Really excited to check out BKB 38 on March 22nd. And yeah, it should be a great one. It's great to hear you've been, selling so many tickets and whatnot. But like I was saying earlier, for people who aren't in the immediate area, they can check out this classic rematch with LT Nelson on Vice TV and just check out this BKB Super Middleweight Police Gazette Diamond Belt Championship fight. And yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. You have a good rest of your day there. All the best with the remainder of these preparations. And just, yeah, I'll be checking out the fight when it goes down. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you very much, Dylan, man. I really appreciate your time and your interview, mate. Yeah, and listen, if you don't know about this fight, you want to watch it because you're going to be missing out if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who somehow hasn't seen the first fight up until this point, definitely check that out and get real excited for this next one. And yeah, no, I'm stoked for it, man. I think it's the
Go
biggest fight. Yeah.
go to YouTube and type in Nelson versus Connelly, and then go and watch that for a 5 3 minute round bare knuckle fight. You know what I mean? And Hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anyone who's a fight fan wouldn't. But again, to reiterate, thanks for coming on, Bare Knuckle Bowker.
Yeah, thank you.
James, excited for this fight. And yeah, have a good rest of your day, man. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Dylan. Big respect, mate.